Hey, what's good, everyone? Back with the second part, Viper Split. Going to be talking about defense today. This video should be a little bit shorter just because the role isn't super complicated on this map, at least on defense. But yeah, same format, roles and responsibilities, some Util. I'll show you guys a couple lineups. And then some things that I think Viper players could be doing a little bit better that I don't see too often in the current meta. But yeah, let's get started. We'll start on Valve Plant here. Let's just talk about the most common orbs. Generally, Viper, at least in competitive play, is going to be playing either Vents or top B Heaven, and really Viper's role is to stall mid. Okay. Lots of teams, if you watch my other split videos, lots of teams will have their 3x pack, sometimes double duelist, whatever, initiator, duelist, +1, working towards mid. If they don't do that, a lot of times they'll start and they'll go across A early. That's usually how teams like to default, get across ramp, or they like to work with a 3x pack in mid. And then away from the 3x, you're going to have single lurkers. So sometimes Viper B, I mean on double duelist, probably Omen. And then Cypher. Or sometimes you see Viper, Omen, Viper Astra. So you'll see a lot of this 1-3-1ing on attack, and really what these people are trying to do on the extremities is apply pressure to the guys playing the sites, which will then pull 1 to potentially 2 players off of mid to go assist them. So if you watch my other videos, I've talked a lot about this push-pull pivot idea on attack. So Viper's job is to kind of stop this 3x pack from getting anything done, make sure that you're util trading efficiently. If the enemy sky uses their dog, guess what? We're going to counter molly. We're going to break the dog. And then really it's about just playing your life and staying alive. Okay. Late round. So that's your kind of your early round responsibility. In mid is to kind of stall out, stall the dog, break the dog, and deny them any space past this point. If you can't do that, that's fine. You fall back and you can play more for info, jiggling Z or jiggling Rafter to molly the top here. Or you can, sometimes if you're playing in vent, you'd fall back and you pop your wall up. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. Typically, the wall that you'll be seeing is like a retake A wall a lot of the time, like this. So Viper will be playing like here, orbing mid, and I'll show you guys the lineup for mid off barrier, super easy. Doing this orb mid, stalling mid, counter utiling mid, making sure that the enemy team isn't really getting past this orb. And if they do get past this orb, sometimes it's really important for Viper players to pop their orb up and kind of take this one-on-one fight, because a lot of times the duelist will be split from the pack here. You take this fight and then you leave the vent and you pop your wall up and you escape, right? The other thing that this wall does is not only does it stall fast A hits here and here, but in retake as well. It's really hard for teams to play with a lot of numbers on site in post plant. So what they do is they will actually plant. They'll try to plant here. They'll plant here. They'll plant over here. Sometimes plant for heaven. So when you go to retake as a defender, as a defensive team, you pop this wall up. You get through heaven. You can come out vents and you can rotate, and you kind of clear this heaven space first, and then you can decide if we want to fight ramp or if we want to just go to site. Cool thing about the wall then is if you decide you want to retake heavy through screens and out heaven, you can have one person staying here, popping up the Viper wall and holding it for the people to run through when you go to tap the bomb. So that's kind of like the main use case for the orb, this orb and wall pairing. Other orb pairings with walls that I've seen are kind of like this B retake wall, where you'll kind of do something like this, where you'll cut off B main, you'll leave a kind of an annoying cubby here corner, and then you'll do a deeper wall mid. And then, typically you'll still see the orb here in mid, or other things that you'll see sometimes are like the orb deep B heaven here. This one's interesting. There's a lot of things that you can do around it. Some people one-way this. I don't think it's that great. I'd much rather do this orb or even a male orb or mid orb, okay? Those are kind of the main use cases for the Viper wall, Viper orb pairing on defense. Obviously, you can put the orb in any choke, and it's going to hard stuff that choke, especially if you're there to molly it. So that's definitely another use case. There are teams that throw this. There are teams that throw like a deeper orb. There are teams that throw this, and sometimes there are teams that throw this. So all of these are super viable. But yeah, generally, like the main ones you'll see is the mid orb with the A retake wall, right? This one. Sorry. Like that. Or you'll see the B retake wall like this with a little bit deeper in mid, and either the mid orb or something like that, or even B main sometimes, or here sometimes. This is a really good flood retake orb. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of Valplant stuff. Let me get in the server, and I'm sure as I go through the util, I will be able to come up with some more stuff. Okay, so let's restart the round here, just so I can get the barriers up. I'm going to show you how to do this mid orb from both B heaven and from vent. So what I do is I just come against this part of the barrier and I aim right here where that. Oh, you guys wanted me to change my crosshair color to red, I believe. Hopefully that works. So right here where this white part meets that part of the wall, I just aim right there and I will throw. And again, this is at barrier. So in game phase, you just throw. Oh, oops. So yeah, on the left hand side right there, and that will cut all of the right side, all of the left side, right? And then at this point, all you're really doing is you're listening for the dog, you're waiting, and if, you know, sometimes teams will satchel through or dash through, you molly this orb, and then you and your vent guy would fight this person that's split from the pack, okay? Other things you could do with this mid orb that are kind of cool is a lot of teams will pop it up, and then they'll get in it, and they'll molly deep, and then sky flash through and fight with it. Another thing you can do from the vent side is the same thing, but you come here and you pop the orb up, and then you drop it. And so up, drop, and you molly the corner, and then you fight deeper. So those are kind of the big things in mid. So yeah, again, it's here. If you wanted to know like a one-way lineup, I believe it's right here. It's not super great because you got to get to this corner, but you come here and you aim at this corner right there. So that lands there. And it's good, like it's good, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you can't grab it back is really the main problem. And that's kind of one of the things I alluded to it earlier. Things that Viper players could be doing better on this map is figuring out multiple use cases for their orb in the round. So if they throw the mid orb at the start of the round, which is super common, can they pick it up and can they figure out a way to use it later to help them win the round? Okay, so that's B heaven, and then the orb I was talking about is just kind of like here. And as teams come up B heaven, you know, you can do a lot of things. You can molly the orb. You can go to drop the orb and then molly this and fight here with a sky flash or omen flash, right? So, you know, you can molly nade this and then fight this after you drop the orb. Lots of things you can do. Another thing that you can do in B heaven that's kind of cool is start of the round. A lot of teams will default by flashing mail. So what you can do is you can listen for the flash to come, you pop your orb, and then you drop it, or you peek out of it. Then you get a kill as it's still up, and then you leave, right? So you can have misinformation in mail by popping your orb up at the start of the round. They can't see it because it's behind a wall, and then you kind of disrespect that, and then so it would be like this. You pop orb, start around, flash comes in, you sit in the orb, you come out of it, go for one kill, and you leave, and then you just leave, right? You can do kind of the same thing in mail if you really, really wanted to, but I think for mail it's a little bit better to just get the orb, or for vent it's better to get the orb down quick, because you have to throw it from an exposed spot. So let me restart the round here. So
I want them in pieces.
I go to this side, and then right here on this row, when I pull my orb up, should be, yeah, so right there on that corner, the top left corner above my Viper orb is where I'll stand as the barrier drops. I'll go like this, and you at this point you have enough time to throw this and go mail if you want, okay, without dying. But a lot of times Vipers will just stay here and they'll just kind of listen for util. If somebody sky flashes through, you just molly close and you just hold, right? If you hear a dog, you can either molly the dog by shooting it there, or you can spam But yeah, that's really your job, is to figure out ways to util trade in mid. The good thing about your orb going up and down, as long as you keep people on the other side of it, right, they're going to have to continuously use util as you pop it up and down, right, to get through to the other side. So good Viper players kind of understand that util trade in mid is really the name of the game for them, but it's never worth dying. It's never really worth dying for any of this space on defense as Viper, especially if you have like your retake wall on A. You know what I mean? Your job is to bait out util, not necessarily always die. I think it's okay to have like a healthy balance of fighting for mid and showing that you're not just going to fall off as soon as you get a little bit of pressure. But when you do so, there's really good things that you can do with your team, right? You can call for your Raze to come male, and he can bank a nade deep, and right, and you can molly this, and you guys can drop the orb together, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of things that you can do. Like I said earlier, popping this orb up, then getting out in the middle, and sky flashing, and then running out and fighting. Those are other good things to do. Let me show you this vents, or the vents wall that I like. I like coming in this corner, and then right here on this little notch to the right here, down below, I'll throw that. And what that does is, it's kind of specific. It's not the end of the world, right? One, it makes it impossible for them to come and clear like direct on this angle. They have to come through the wall. They can't see you, right? But then also down here as well, they can't come and clear. They can't come and clear this angle as well, right? Because you're too close to the wall. So against low buy, you can have players here with a judge or even a shorty waiting for people to scale out. Kind of off angle here a little bit, because this is likely to get spammed, and you can hold this here, and they really won't be able to see you unless they go against the back wall. But yeah, you do that, and really again the use case for this wall is, let me wait for it to get a little bit more gas. Okay, so if we rotate, let's say we start mid and we want to rotate over to A, and they have A ramps control, we can come up this side of the rope and not have to deal with this, right? Like I said earlier, lots of teams will plant here or here with the intention of not having a ton of people on site, but then to have a lot of people in main or in ramp, right? Because what can they do? They can play the bomb from heaven later in the round, right? So it's really, really common for like sometimes your Viper player or your other smokes player to kind of like, while you're retaking through screens, they sit here and they hold this, they get a kill, right? They'll stall this choke while you're retaking, and then they force you to fight, from here instead. So yeah, that is the wall pairing. So again, start of round, what I would do is I would come here, I would get here, I would throw this, and then I would go here to my spot, and then I'm at the barrier, and I can throw my orb, and then if I want to go male, I can silent jump over here, and now I have kind of this A wall down, and then I have my mid orb, and I can still stall mid from male. It just gives you a little variation to be able to play from either side, okay? Another thing that's common, that you commonly see, is a lot of like jiggle spotting here. Really for Viper, that's kind of the name of the game sometimes, because your molly is so oppressive and it's such a threat for people. It's so dangerous for people to run through it that sometimes getting your molly off is more impactful than having your gun out. Okay. So that is pretty much it for start of round stuff, okay? And really, again, the name of the game for you is counter util, counter util, counter util. Try to trade your mollies for a dog. Continuously pop your orb up and down. Make it really difficult for teams to get past this orb. And then the other thing that I'll say is make sure you're communicating with your other smokes player on cycling up this smoke, okay? You pop this Viper orb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, I'm not a stopwatch, but 13 seconds, 14 seconds on the mid smoke, and then you can pop it back up again. That's a serious amount of stall that you can do in this mid choke, right? So make sure you're cycling it. And then also as Viper, it's super, super important to really understand globally how your team is playing and how the other team is playing the round out. Like I said, there's two different ways that teams like to default for the most part, right? Well, there's kind of three, but two, for the sake of this video, let's just keep it with two. One was kind of going across fast ramp with numbers, and then the other one is having the 3x in mid. So a 3x in mid or a 3xa are kind of the most common ones. In situations like that where teams go across fast ramp and your teammates are in danger, what can you do? You can pop your wall up for them, right? So being able to support your teammates with your global utility is really, really important. The last thing I want to say in mid is when you rotate, make sure you grab this orb, okay? Especially if you're playing here and you're close. It's not worth dying for it, so if there are people in mid and you throw your orb there and you can't get to it, just let it go. It's fine. But if you can grab it, like for example, let's say you start male and you throw the orb and it's a full-on A rush, make sure you grab this, you rotate over, because there are ways that you can use the orb later on, right? Sometimes teams will decide to retake through ramp. This is super, super common on defense. And what can you do? You can smoke deep, right? You can molly the cubby, right? You can smoke, you can molly in the orb, right? You can retake, okay? So really that's it for mid on defense. Be annoying, util trade, and then make sure you have a good eye on the radar and figure out ways you can stall with your stall the enemy team with your global utility, and then also be commanding of your team. If you see that you have, if your gas is going down, make sure you let them know. If you say that, if you tell them that you can wall up and they can get out to safety and you guys can play for retake, let them know. A lot of times in the moment, players will forget about this. Okay, so now that I've talked about that, let's talk about this B wall. So really, you don't want to throw it here because it won't cut. So you jump up here, and all you're really doing is you can aim kind of like here, at this corner here. Sorry, this corner. Oh wow, it goes through. So just here, and that's gonna cut, and then gives your teammates a little pocket and B heaven to play off of, right? But also it cuts deeper mid here, so it makes it a little bit harder for people to play mid. But also if teams go B, this is something that's really good against like Razel. If teams have Razel and they are likely to go for a B pop, you can throw this wall. And what can you do with your orb? Like I said, you can throw it here, you can throw it in male. This might be a round where you want to do that pop the orb at the start of the round, dodge the sky flash, see if you can get a ratty kill, and dip, right? And then again, your goal is to just kind of like play retake on B at that point, okay? So now that we've talked about this variation, let's talk about some cool mollies to use, okay? Now, I kind of showed you just in mid easy ones, like aiming for this. If you want to molly in your orb, you kind of just shoot it low like this. And really what you want to do is you want to get the steps, okay? You want to get the steps. We don't really care about the jump up. A lot of people come in, you can spam that angle. It's pretty easy through the orb or the smokes, okay? So let's talk about mollies. I can show you guys a cool molly set, like a full util set from B. So again, remember, if we start vent, let's say, let me get my wall back. Let's say we start vent and I throw my orb and there's nothing mid and they're going B. What can I do? I grab my orb and there's multiple things that you can do. I mean, you could throw it B main, you could throw it, here. This could be another really good orb to throw. But one that I like a lot is you come here and you're in this corner, and on this, there's like a little brown speck right there. Above your left click of your orb, the top of the triangle, I put it right on that ping, and you just throw. And this will kind of get like almost a majority of backside pillar. We'll also smoke off the bomb from B main if you wanted to go tap it, but we'll also like isolate the fights here and help you guys get out spawn quickly. So I have 2 mollies to pair with this. And again, you're really not going to have 2 mollies for retake that often, but in rounds where they do go fast B and you do have it, sometimes it's okay to not throw your mid orb, your orb mid, right? And you just play for like this retake thing. This orb is actually really good on the round too. So, so I go here, and what I do is I go, so there's this little speck right above the green awning, and the left side of the dash between my molly and my orb, I'll throw that, and then there's a little leaf right here at the top leaf, and then there's a hole in the leaf, and then I could pop my orb up, and then I'll molly this and this, okay? So it'll make it really, really easy for my teammates to run out spawn and fight. If we have something like a raise nade, like nading back pillar would be amazing with this orb, right? Or even nading back sight with the molly can be really, really strong. So if you have good communication with your rays and you guys have set molly nade combos, it can be super, super deflating for teams and really hard for them to play on play post plan on this map, right? So those are the two mollies. Again, so this top leaf, there's a little hole in the middle. You just aim at that, and then the other one is here. This little blue spot. Boom. Okay. And the one thing with this molly, though, it doesn't get up top. Lots of teams will do high-low here, so yeah, just keep that in mind. It does not get up top. It just gets down low. Let me see. What else? Yeah, mollying the default. Really what you want to do is you just see this little pillar, and you just aim at these pipes here. And you kind of just run and throw it, okay? I mean, hell, you can do it two ways. You can do one where you do it from here and you run and you shoot it at this E-box, okay? And the other way is just kind of like, you kind of just get a feel for it, okay? But yeah, that's pretty much it on B in terms of mollies and stuff like that. There are some cool ults. I think this is one of them. So you get on the edge here. That's not it. Could have swore this was it. I was doing it earlier. Forget this ult. Okay, this ult is really good. You just come against this, and you ult here, and this will get all of B site. When I was helping 100 Thieves, they used this in LCQ. It was kind of cool. There was a round in the match where I think Stellar got like a 4K. But yeah, it gets all of sight, and then you can kind of play from spawn, and you can molly, like, so you just come here. So if you aim basically like head level, it'll get on top of the box, and it'll get this corner. And then if you want it, so you aim like about head level. If you want a little higher, it'll go and it'll shoot over here. But you can also just kind of like spam the common and plant spots that they would go plant, right? And then one thing I want to drop this wall. One cool thing that you can do is when you're playing more of like a passive B, but you want to get people off bomb late in the round. Sorry, aim at this thing, the height of this, and that'll get people off bomb. Okay, you don't have to like run out and shoot it. Okay, you could also just do this. That'll get them too. Okay, that's it for B really. And then over at A, let me just show you how to throw the start of round orb. This one's really good if you're playing towards A.
Poison orb emitting.
I grab my orb back.
Poison's off.
So here, right in the middle of this, the top of flower pot, you just throw that, and that'll perfect cut here, here, and here. This one's really good in retake, and then you can throw this hell molly. So this, the height of this, over into the open. That'll get everything in hell. So what you could do then is you go here, get rid of molly,
Poison orb emitting.
and they're gonna have to swing into this orb. And then what could your screen players do, right? They're just spamming the orb, okay? Other cool orbs, I think right here, stand here. So again, if like you're starting in male and you grab the orb to retake, you throw the orb right there.
Poison orb emitting.
Was that it?
Poison's off.
I think it's here. Let me see. Yeah.
Poison orb emitting.
Okay, yeah, so that's the orb.
Poison's off.
So this one, you stand here and you go right at the top corner here. And then to molly back screen, what I do is I move to the left so this side of the diamond hits. I just aim at the bottom. Oops, wait. Okay. Sorry, that was a little wonky. So until this part is gone, you just aim at the corner there, okay? So you do that with this orb. This orb is really good for teams that are coming around elbow and they want to get rid of this crossfire and just worry about this.
Poison's off.
And then being able to molly elbow is really good. And then you can kind of like, this is another good back corner molly. So if your teammates are retaking through elbow, you aim basically at the height of this little corner of the wall out into the open, and that'll full get everybody right here, even close. Okay. That's really pretty much it, guys, on defense, right? So your role is usually to play mid, and kind of stall with this mid orb. Make sure you're picking up and grabbing it. Rotate over. Figure out cool use cases for the orb that help your teammates in the retake. Make sure you're using your mollies to kind of like trade. You trade the mollies for people trying to come through the mid orb, specifically the Sky Dog, and then. Yeah, I mean, like that's pretty much it. You want to be annoying and pesky in mid, and then you don't want to dive for this space, but you do want to think like your main focus is util trade. Okay. Oh, other thing, you should use a phantom on this map on defense for sure. Just like spamming around in mid. The most annoying thing in the world is when they see your tracers and they just 2-tap you through the Viper orb. It's really good to just play with a phantom, and then make sure you have a global understanding of what's going on in the map. Good management of your gas to help your teammates, and then always try to consider how your teammates should path in the retake. Remember when I said going A, if you guys are going heavy out screens, that means maybe you should come late vent or you come late heaven and you kind of hold this Viper wall, because a lot of times people play numbers on site. It's easy to retake because it's so easy to get solid damage off, this or this, or hell, right? Mollying hell. So all of these things, the same way that we use mollies on the attack side to clear out angles and make our lives easier for us, you should think about the same thing in post plan and retake, okay? Let me think. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions or yeah, if you have any questions, I mean that's really the basis of it. Really, Viper defense is kind of easy on a lot of maps. Your job is to stall the bomb, stall the hit, and you're focused on counter util, and you're focused on staying alive, because your wall and your orb, the vision denial that it brings your team in retakes is super important, especially on this map and on Icebox, and honestly Breeze, all of those. So you gotta take a little bit of risk as Viper, but really your job is to stay alive, trade util, and make sure that your wall is up and available for post plant. And then also, guys, the last thing that I'll say, when you're going for these retakes, make sure you're communicating with your team, asking them if they're ready. And once they say yes, they're ready, and you guys have come up with a solid plan. And also, really, as Viper, you should kind of try to practice communicating how you want your team to retake around your utility and your mollies, right? Because you know what you can molly and molly out, you can kind of direct your teammates to go play off of those the AoE clear that the molly brings, right? So try to communicate that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks again for all the love and support. Finally, over 600 subs. We'll probably be at 1,000 in, I don't know, a week or two, which is crazy. I definitely was not expecting to get this much love and support. So I am appreciative of it. And yeah, I think next video I'm going to put out will probably be Brimstone Bind, or I know people are talking about Omen Sunset too. So Brimstone Bind, Omen Sunset, probably the next ones. And then I think I'll probably shift into more of some like just map-based meta or macro stuff. And then maybe I'll get into initiators after that, or some Sentinel stuff. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Hope you guys all have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.